Very good.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. First off, I'd like to start off by asking a question. How many of you have seen the show Jerry Springer? Alright, so that's all of you have actually. As you may know, Jerry Springer has one favorite show, or one favorite word that is constantly being said, and it's the beep that goes off. You may be wondering, why does it go off? It's because of censorship. Censorship is the 21st century. This 21st century is achieved through the examination of books, plays, films, radio programs, television, and news reports and other forms of communication, which has the purpose of altering, suppressing ideas found to be objectionable or offensive. Censorship can also hurt the economy. According to Bloomberg Businessweek, because China, which is one of America's largest trading partners, they actually blocked Facebook. And Facebook is the world's largest online social media website in America. This year, Renren, one of China's largest social media networks, they're expecting to have $500 million made on the New York stock market. So a Chinese social network can make U.S. capital over here, but it's not fair that a Chinese consumer market can not make money off of Facebook. Does that sound fair to you guys? Quite frankly, I'm getting tired of hearing all the beeps and blanked out words on television shows. I want to watch my show in the fullest of its inappropriateness, as I'm sure all of you want to see the show with inappropriateness in it. Censorship is unconstitutional. It can place a limit on what you can read, and lastly, the United States is one of the few countries with strict media censorship. Today I'd like to persuade you all on why media censorship in the United States should be banned. First, let's start off with how censorship can be deemed unconstitutional. Back in the late 1700s, our founding fathers got together and created the United States Constitution. The First Amendment which is stated in the Constitution is, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, prohibiting free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, and of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government of readiness and grievances. With this being said, how does the United States get away with censorship? Clearly it states that there shall be no law whatsoever that can eliminate freedom of speech or the press, both of which have been censored. In 2005, the governor of California, who at the time was Arnold Schwarzenegger, tried to pass a law which the state of California tried putting a censorship on video games, on violent video games. The Entertainment Software, better known as ESA, a trade organization which represents some of the gaming world's largest manufacturers, asked the Supreme Court to rule that a California law which bans the sale and rental of violent video games to minors, and they think it's unconstitutional. The Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, better known as AIAS, and the International Game Developers Association, better known as the IGDA, provided their support for the ESA, filing a brief with the Supreme Court that says video games should be constitutionally protected form of expression. This law was eventually found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court a year ago after many years of debate. So why does video game censorship show that shows people dying and getting slaughtered become unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, but newness and inappropriateness, which can be harmless, censored? Not only is censorship unconstitutional, it can limit what people of the United States can and cannot know. Before I start with the government, this is often shown at the protest of censorship of the government can show. Slide, please. Alright, while this is loading, during war times, the government likes to hide things and likes to not tell people what's really going on in the war. According to Tim Wu, a Columbia law professor during the Gulf War, the Allied coalition sought to ensure that the media reported the truth as the military saw it. This goal required heavy controls on what the media saw and how they reported it. Overt censorship was practically non-existent. Instead, the military limited access to the stories and players in it. The military won extremely positive coverage during the war, and the price of dissatisfied press corps and lingering doubts about whether what the press saw was the whole story. So here's the picture. They usually show this at censorship when they're protesting it. And it said, you write what you're told. So that's pretty much saying that the government tells what the press they should not write. Rather than getting the whole truth during wartime, often the government and military wants the American people to get a positive response rather than the truth. Another hot topic of government censorship is WikiLeaks. Greg Mitchell, author of Why WikiLeaks Matters, states that WikiLeaks first came online in 2007, promising any individual a form to anonymously publish previously classified, hidden, or sensitive documents and make them publicly available. The idea was relatively simple. Given the viral nature of the internet, and with these duplicate digital documents, which were once secret, but they're not going to be secret anymore when they're placed on WikiLeaks. It's highly controversial, but in some ways, WikiLeaks tells the truth of what is really going on during war. It does not hide behind the censor wall that the United States media often does. However, because the United States decides to censor WikiLeaks in early 2008, so the government can control what you can and cannot see. The United States tends to be very strict when it comes to censorship, and the world, especially Europe, tends to be more lenient. In Europe, language is not censored throughout the day, and nudity in the media is allowed at a certain time of the day, or at night. As of late, the Europeans censored an episode of The Simpsons that had taken a lot of heat by the people of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany because they were not used to TV networks censoring their shows. Apparently, an ongoing nuclear accident in Japan has caused some outrage, or has caused some damage in Europe. TV networks in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland are censoring an episode of The Simpsons to remove any jokes about a nuclear meltdown or radiation. A fierce debate is also raging in Germany after the Bundestag passed a bill imposing censorship of certain pornographic websites. Civil liberties group and internet activists now fear greater government attempts at internet censorship. Last Thursday, under the remit of protecting children against viewing porn, the government parliament passed a bill imposing censorship of certain websites. This bill requires the country's federal authorities to maintain a list of websites accused of containing pornography. This list will be distributed to German internet service providers, ISP, which will then be required to block access to sites which would have a stop sign on that website. As you can see in Europe is not used to censorship and is starting to become a hot topic and angering the people of certain countries. Censorship in the United States is completely useless, and we seem to be the only ones really using censorship in the fullest in the modern Western world. I believe the government should be able to allow people to hear what they want to hear and hear the absolute truth. I believe the solution to censorship is allow people what they want to hear and see. If somebody does not want to see a certain something, and does not want to hear explicit words on Jerry Springer or a nude beach special on Travel Channel, the American people should have the ability to block that station until it's over. This is the 21st century, and I think it's time for a change.
Okay, we have 5 for time and 5